Hi guys, it is a sauna in here today, which is super fun. I can't up a fan on because of sound quality, so we're just gonna have to go with it. It's so hot in here. Welcome my wonderful, you know what? I can't do it. I can't do the fruit intros anymore. We're gonna cut those. Today we'll be talking about my favorite system of determining my characters' personalities. Last 2 weeks ago, I talked about Myers-Briggs, and even though I love that system, I like this one more. Ocean, or the Big Five traits, is a system designed by psychologists to be used in actual psychology. I personally like it because it features 5 traits based on observable behaviors, making it easier to type the people around you and your characters. While the Myers-Briggs test is nice, it is often very wishy-washy, while the Big Five are much more concrete. The second reason I like Ocean better is because it has a middle ground, while Myers-Briggs and Enneagram don't. I'll explain in a minute. Another reason I prefer Ocean is that it has so many more possibilities. 2 people of the same MBTI type will not always act the same way, but 2 people of the same Ocean type will almost always act the same way. Why is this? Not only is the Ocean typing much more based on behaviors, but there are 3,125 Ocean types. Take that, 16 personalities. As you can probably guess, the downside to the system is you can't find online profiles for all 3,125 types. There's another version of the Ocean system that decreases this to 32 types, but even then you cannot really find online profiles of this typing system because it's not as much a part of pop psychology. Now let's talk about these 5 traits. Number 1. Number 1, openness to experience. Now I know what this sounds like, but it's actually not at all what you're thinking. Openness to experience does not describe a curious person, but rather an imaginative person. That's right, this trait was basically made for writers. A character high in openness will often get lost in thought and come up with crazy wild plans that even they know could never go right. A character low in openness will often give the other characters a reality check. They're often fact-minded and go with their past experience rather than their gut feelings. Luna Lovegood, my actual favorite person, is very high in openness, while Spock would be an example of someone on the opposite end of the spectrum. Number 2, conscientiousness. Wow, that is a really hard word to spell. People high in conscientiousness will be hard workers, who are very well organized and have their shit together. Characters high in conscientiousness are often leaders who are always punctual and keep their word. Meanwhile, characters on the low end of the spectrum will be lazy, unorganized, generally uncaring, and late everywhere they go. An excellent example of someone high in conscientiousness is Jason from the Heroes of Olympus series. Heck yeah, I'm that nerdy. On the other hand, someone very low in conscientiousness. Are you seeing this? It's me. It's me. I know this looks clean. I know, but you haven't seen everything else. Like, I just clear out this little space right here. A person very low in conscientiousness would be Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 3, extroversion. I already covered this one in the Myers-Briggs video, so I'll be brief here. Characters high in extroversion draw their energy from being around other people, and they find it very easy to network and meet new people. Characters high in introversion, on the other hand, will be more reserved people who get their energy from being alone. A great example of an extroverted character is Tony Stark, or Iron Man, while a great example of an introverted character is Bilbo Baggins. Number 4, agreeableness. The person high in agreeableness will often be seen as naive. Characters high in this trait will often be the sweet, helpful kind that everyone loves, but they will often also be the ones that get screwed over. Do not mistake these characters for damsels, however, as they can still kick some ass. Characters on the other end of the spectrum will be extremely suspicious and highly untrusting. They will be critical of everyone around them and will most likely be ruthless and irritable, only giving out their trust to a few close individuals. A great example of this one is Katniss, who don't take shit from nobody. A character high in agreeableness would be Snow White. Girl almost dies 1,000 times because she just does whatever the queen tells her to do. Number 5, neuroticism. People high in neuroticism will often be seen as worrywarts who are constantly afraid of something going wrong. They will be considered realists and pessimists and will often keep telling the other characters, "This is a bad idea." A character high in neuroticism would be C-3PO, while a character low in neuroticism would be Jack Sparrow. So there you have it, the 5 traits. Now, how do you determine your character's personality? Each of these traits exists on a spectrum, which I like to designate +2, +1, 0, -1, and -2. If you look at your character and say, oh yeah, they really fit this trait, put them at a +2. If you're like, yeah, sure, I suppose, put them at a +1. If you're like, you know, I really don't know, they're equal parts both, then give them a 0. If you're like, nah, that's a -1. If you're like, oh, hell no, that's a -2. Now we're gonna do a quick example with one of my favorite characters, Savvy. Savvy always comes up with wild plans and really enjoys adventure, so I'm gonna put her at a +1 on the openness trait. Conscientiousness? Nah, she's a hot mess. -1. Savvy is a huge extrovert and needs people, but also values her alone time, so we're gonna put her at a +1. Agreeable? Nuh-uh, Savvy don't take shit from nobody. -2. Is she neurotic? Actually, she's a bit of both. She sure worries, but just enough to get stuff done. Basically, she's the one that gets more clarity from being scared, but still likes thinking on the positive side. I'm gonna give her a 0. So there you go. That's my character in a nutshell. Now, a few things. First of all, do not make a trait 0 unless you have good reason. Savvy is one of my few characters that have a 0 when I type them. Too many zeros means a boring character. Second, how does this compare to Myers-Briggs? I'm so glad you asked. All the benefits that I mentioned in the MBTI video still stand strong for this one. The only issue with this one is that there are no actual profiles that you can read online. The reason I like this one more, however, is you don't have to choose one extreme or the other. If you ask me, this system is much more based on behaviors that you can see. It can be hard to see if my character is intuitive or sensing, but is my character neurotic? Their actions clearly show that. The reason I love this system is because it describes 5 traits that almost every human exhibits, so if you use this system to help you create your characters will seem realistic. Also, it will force you to think deeper about your characters. And that is the last of my long psychology rant. I am so glad you're still with us. I swear my other videos are funnier, promise. You should subscribe and check them out. I have the previous video linked below, but you can always find my channel and watch to your heart's content. Actually, not really. I've only been on here a few months and I really don't have much content. Next week, I'll be making another serious video. Yay. And talking about one of my favorite things, which is outlining. I will be going over my own 7-step process with an example that I'll be creating right before your eyes. Basically, I had the need to outline a book and decided that I might as well make a video about it while I'm at it. And until then, may the gods plot be ever on your side. I feel like I have hair everywhere. So much hair! I'm shedding! The second, no, we're on 3. The third reason I like... There is a bug in here. It sounds like it's actually in my room. Like, some big flying thing that's making a lot of noise. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I personally like it more because the 5 traits described in it are based on I cannot say that word. I can't say the word observe. I can't say it.